there, booktube, welcome back to my channel. It hasn't been a month since my last book haul video, but I've been acquiring books kind of slowly, but not really. And I realized that I just have so many books just lingering around, waiting for me to put them together in this haul video, that I decided to do my March haul a little early and share with you the books that I have collected, the books that I've added to my library in the past 3 or so weeks. And I'll just do this early, and if I get more books, which I probably will get more books before the end of March, I'm not complaining, but if I get more books by the end of the month, then I'll just add them on to my next haul. And I won't tie this haul video to any month, because there's some months when I get a lot of books and some months when I don't. So I'm just going to share with you today the 12 books that I have acquired recently. The first book is Seth Godin's Purple Cow. This is a nonfiction read, and it is about how you can make your brand, your business, your product more remarkable. Some of the things that you can do to make sure that your idea stands out when you pitch it to someone. Even though technically I don't have a business, there are lots of things that I do to interact with other people. My social media, my videos, my book. You might know that I'm an author. What are some of the things that I can do to make sure that my idea, when I pitch it, when I talk to people, when I present it to people, that it is more remarkable, that it stands out in their memory and it doesn't get lost in all the noise of all the other things that they have to think about. There were several ideas in here that I bookmarked because I want to adapt them for myself, and I started following Seth Godin's blog after reading this book. This book cost $24 and it was a gift to me, so I added it to my library for free. Next up is Lamonts Bird by Bird, Instructions on Writing and Life. I've been kind of in a writing slump lately. I haven't been writing as much creative fiction as I used to. I thought that this would be a great book to have whenever I feel like I need a little inspiration to write. I got this used for $2 at the bookstore. Now we're on to my stack of 10 fiction books that I've collected in the past couple of weeks. The first one was a book that I got at the used bookstore, and I only paid $1.08. What drew me to this book is at the back of the book, where you expect to have a synopsis, it says, "We don't want to tell you what happens in this book. It is a truly special story and we don't want to spoil it. Nevertheless, you need to know enough to buy it. So we'll just say this. This is a story of two women. Their lives collide one fateful day, and one of them has to make a terrible choice, the kind of choice we hope you never have to face. 2 years later, they meet again. The story starts there. Once you have read it, you'll want to tell your friends about it. When you do, please don't tell them what happens. The magic is in how the story unfolds." When I saw that synopsis, I realized that I could not buy this book. Another book that I got used was a DaVinci Code by Dan Brown. I read this book a few years ago, and I've always said I wanted to reread it and I'd like to own my own copy. And I found this used Barnes & Noble. The dust jacket is a little torn, but I don't care. And I got this for, I think, $2 at the used bookstore, and it is an almost new copy. I'm sure most of you have probably read this or you've watched the movie, but you know the story. It's about a professor who is in Paris on business, I think, and he gets called in the middle of the night to go to the Louvre to solve this mystery that has taken place in the museum, and it has to do with Leonardo da Vinci's painting, the Mona Lisa, which hangs there. It's one of the most famous paintings in the world, and some of the mystery is being solved by clues that are left in Leonardo da Vinci's other artwork. I got that one for, I think, $2 as well. A book that I picked up for $1 is Then We Came to the End by Joshua Ferris. I honestly don't know anything about this book, and I'd prefer to keep it that way. But what I really liked, I think it has something to do with an office, because all of these look like Post-its. Let me see. Yep, it has something to do with an office and coworker. I just saw those two words flash out at me. I bought this for $1. A hardcover, almost new hardcover for $1 is, I think, a win every single time. Doesn't matter what the book is about. It'll look good on my shelf. It's yellow. Then we get to a few books that I bought at Barnes & Noble. I got these from the bargain section in Barnes & Noble. I got a really great Barnes & Noble gift card from one of my cousins at Christmas, and I've just been buying all the books that I've wanted in Barnes & Noble for a while. This is a QuickBooks. This novel is by Matthew Quick. I don't know what it's about, but Matthew Quick is the author who brought us the Silver Linings Playbook, which was one of my best reads last year. And this one is entitled The Good Luck of Right Now. I got it for $5.98. I wish this color they'd carried it over to the spine, but the spine instead is dark blue with red, and I like it. I first saw this book when B from Books with B was talking about it, and I remember her reading this book and enjoying it last year, but I don't remember what she said the book was about. But I started reading when I was in Barnes & Noble, and I was trying to figure out if I wanted to read it. I read the first chapter. And so the story personifies bees, and we're following one of the worker bees in a hive. So she has to go through this process, and if she is found to be disabled or disfigured in any way, she'll be discarded. But she goes through the process, and apparently she has some gift, and they decide to keep her. And I thought that was just such an interesting first chapter. I don't know what the rest of the story is going to be about, if it's always going to be about bees, or if the personifications are going to flip and at some point we're going to see humans taking those roles. I'm not sure, but I also really like the cover. I mean, I think the cover is just so beautiful. And I'm hoping that since they paid so much attention with the cover, that the fiction itself will also be stunning. So as you can see, I got this one also for $5.98 from Barnes & Noble. And the spine also has a little bee on it. So read a book with animals on the cover. I could have bees. I should have chosen this for the Read-A-Rama challenge now that I think about it, but I didn't even think about it. Another book that I got from Barnes & Noble was We Need New Names by NoViolet Bulawayo. You might have seen me talk about this in a closer book. This author is from Zimbabwe, and she's writing under a pseudonym, and I can't remember her actual name, but this book was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize in 2013. It's about children who are born in Africa in a kind of depressed society. They're born in a time where their country is experiencing unrest, and as they deal with some of the issues in their current life, they dream about life in America and what the future holds for them, and then it compares those dreams with what happens later. As we watch the children grow up, we get to see whether their dreams come true or not, and what the reality really is for them when they get to that place that they dream of. So as you can tell, I already read this book. Please, I encourage you to check it out. I'd love to talk with someone else who has read this book, so let me know. Another book that I got from Barnes & Noble is Us by David Nicholls. You can tell I got this one also for $5.98 from Barnes & Noble. I so love this cover. My goodness, this is beautiful. So this is Us. This is Us. That's the name of this series on NBC, which I still haven't watched, even though I've heard so many people talk about it. So this is Us, US, and here are these three people. When I was in Barnes & Noble trying to decide if I wanted to buy this book, I did read the first chapter, and it has to do with a couple. I think they've been married for a long time, and the woman decides that she's going to leave the relationship. And so the book is about him trying to deal with that revelation and what it means for their life going forward. Something that I really, really like about this book, it has the deckled edges, which I don't know if you can see them. It is really great to feel this book. This book has all the feels, and it was longlisted for the Man Booker Prize in 2014. So in a few months, when I finish my 2013 Man Booker Prize reading challenge, I'm going to be working on this. I will include this one, even though I'm only focusing on shortlisted books right now. Since I own this book and it was longlisted, of course I'll add that one to my comparison reading. Another book that I saw at Barnes & Noble and just couldn't resist adding to my collection is The Husband's Secret by Liane Moriarty. This one was $6.98. Ooh, a splurge. This was the first Liane Moriarty book that I read. In 2015, I think it was, I read all of the books that she had published up to that point. Last year in 2016, she released her brand new book, Truly Madly Guilty, which I didn't like as much as I loved the rest. But I've read every Liane Moriarty book, and they all came from the library, and I was eager to add something from her to my collection. When I saw this in the store, I said I have to have it. It is beautiful, it is brand new. She's an Australian writer, and her books have been published with different covers in different countries, and this is the cover that I love almost the most. I think the Big Little Lies cover is the Exploding Candy, and this one is the Exploding Flower. But I think these books are just so beautiful, and this was one of my favorite reads from her. Big Little Lies, I think, was my second favorite, but I've read all of her books now, and I was just so excited to get this one. I'd love to collect all of them, so if you know someone who has the other companion hardcovers from her book series, and they're trying to find a new home for those books, please send them my address. Send them over here. I'm collecting Liane Moriarty books. Another book that came into my library recently is the Roanoke E Girls by Amy Engel. I got this one for free from Blogging for Books in exchange for an honest review. I thought the cover was really pretty because it is supposed to be pictures from a family portraits hanging on a wall. You can see the wallpaper of what seems to be an older person's home, and these pictures that they like to display in these kind of antique frames. And I already read this book. I talked about it in a closer book. If you'd like to see my review, please go ahead and check out that video. I didn't like this book, but if you have read it and you have another opinion, please share it. Please go ahead and share that in the comments so we can chat about that one too. Then we come to 3 books that I just got from the used bookstore, and they each cost me $1 each, so score! First up is A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan, and she won the Pulitzer Prize for this book, so you know about my Pulitzer Prize reading challenge. Of course, I'm going to be reading this book pretty soon. It is an almost brand new copy. Like, it doesn't look like it's been read. It looks like it just has some shop-worn, like shelf-worn marks or whatever. For me, that is a win for $1 into my collection. I also picked up The Dinner by Herman Koch, which I think I've read before, but it's now being made into a movie, and I would like to read it again because I don't remember the plot. So this is a book that was translated to English from Dutch. It was first published in Dutch in 2009, and the first translation in English was in 2012. If I read it, I probably read it around then, which was before I had my blog, which was before I was doing any kind of book reviews. So that is probably why I don't remember, because I never wrote down my thoughts anywhere. So I want to read this again so I can watch the movie. And like I said, $1. $1! And the last book that I got for $1 was Han Kang's The Vegetarian, which won the Man Booker International Prize last year. And you remember that a couple of weeks ago, I read her other book, Human Acts, and loved it. And I remember seeing this. I remember the first time I saw this book in Barnes & Noble last summer. And I was like, The Vegetarian, what's that about? Is that about a woman who doesn't eat meat? And this, of course, was long before I read the book the first time, and then went back and read the book the second time, and now I got my own copy for $1. So for me, this is a completely awesome book haul. So I spent a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 6 and 7, 13 and 6, 19. I think I paid $5 for this. 19 and 5, 24. 24 and 6, 30. 36, 37, 39. So in total, I spent $39. I got 1 book for free and 1 book as a gift. And that is my book haul for the past 3 weeks or so. This book blogging thing, this book tubing thing is really crowding out my space. So let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books, any of the books that I just acquired and haven't read yet, if you think that I should read it ASAP because you read it and loved it. And let's talk about all of those things in the comments. Thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And until we talk again, happy reading. Bye!